What's going on, guys? Thank you for coming back to part 6 now of my tarot deck collection series. Today we are going to be going over my Lenormand decks. I will also be including my one Sibilla deck in today's video as well. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. Again, my name is Alex, and this is the Lazy Genius Tarot Bazaar. And this is my Le Petit Lenormand. I think that's how you say that. This is the 1976. The box is a little bit worse for wear, but it's definitely held up nicely for it to be that old. And here's the title card. And then it is the 36 card Lenormand deck, the precursor to the Grand Jeu Lenormand, and the subsequent astrological Grand Jeu that came after that one. So they say that this is like the beginning of the Lenormand reading system. But it actually does predate this as far as Lenormand is concerned. It was a card and dice game once upon a time. So it does definitely come from that. This particular deck, most all other Lenormand decks, has got the playing card association on them. So there's that. The next deck that I have is going to be based on this deck, actually, but it is the Piotnik deck number 194115. I do not know how to pronounce this. I will not try to butcher it, but it is, again, based on the same system there as this one. But the images aren't as muddled, they're taken over. So there is this sort of a seal, like a crest on each card. It's got the playing card in the center, the number, and then the image. They're all rather easy to tell what you're looking at. That is the mountain card, the key card, the clover card, the coffin card, and so on. There's your lady, your child, your letter. I like the artwork in this one. There's the card backs. Really like this deck as far as my Lenormand collection is concerned. Next, we have the Pixi's Astounding Lenormand. This is a 10 deck from US Games. Has the little book there. This would be a 2015 copyright. Actually doesn't have a copyright on the front of the cards there, which I actually really like. And then the copyright's actually hidden on the back. So it is basically Pixi's artwork from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, just superimposed into a Lenormand deck. So it's entirely inspired by the artwork of Pamela Coleman Smith, aka Pixi. Ooh. So there's some of those cards there. Really like that one. I haven't quite started working with the Lenormand system yet, but when I do, I feel like I've got a nice little selection of cards. This is the Arcana Lenormand de Iris Sacra, so this is going to be the same sort of deck inspiration as the Iris Sacra Arcana Thoth deck that was also made by the good folks over at Labyrinthos. So here's what the cards look like. They have the same sort of color scheme as their Thoth-based deck. For instance, the Two of Pentacles from the Thoth-based deck has been transferred over to the Lenormand deck as the Snake card. So definitely right along the same style of artwork. I think this deck does come with 2 man cards and 2 woman cards. So there's that one. I don't use the tie on it because I learned with the Thoth-based deck that the tie right here is only held on by this thin piece of like backing paper that they used to cover the box there. So if you tie it tight enough to keep the lid closed all the way and to keep the cards from coming out, then it actually will pull the ribbon from that card there. So this one is actually a misprint. So I got it at a discount. It got a little banged up on the corner here in the mail. But I did get it at a discount because it is the Arcana Lenormand de Iris Sacra, but they accidentally printed the Iris Sacra astrological, it's an astrological oracle deck that they did based on the same sort of artwork and inspiration from this deck and the Thoth deck. But they accidentally printed the name for that one on the side here instead of the actual name of the deck. So they sold this one at a discounted price. This is the first edition. There's the back of the box. Like I said, I will do a full detailed walkthrough of any of these decks. If you have one that you want me to jump to the top of the list, just post that in the comments of the video. Next, I am going to, well, no, we'll save the Sibilla deck for last. And then the final deck that I have on my Lenormand list is the Memento Mori Lenormand and Oracle deck by Claire Goodchild, same author as the Antique Anatomy mass market edition that I have. This is actually the indie version of this deck. I put it in the same style bag as the Antique Anatomy. And I originally bought it as an Oracle deck to use with the Antique Anatomy, and then because of this deck I started looking into Lenormand, and the first 36 cards of this deck are all going to be the Lenormand cards. So from 1 to 36, ending at the cross. And then from there, you have the rest of the deck, which is an Oracle. So it's all laid out pretty much the same way. Single image title. So it all operates together like one big Oracle deck, right? But the first 36 cards are Lenormand deck, so you can kind of use it in either direction. She does have another couple of Oracle decks that I want to get. She's got quite a cool style of artwork. Actually, let me put it back in the tug box before I put it back in here. She's got a pretty dope style of artwork. I like how it's all sort of like vintage, like as far as the suits are concerned, even where like it's all real vintage. And then anything that's human is either a skull or a bone or this guy. The Plague Doctor seems to be a fitting card for the times. But I really like this deck. I have only really used it as an oracle at the moment because I haven't really started reading the Lenormand system quite yet, but I will definitely get there. And then finally for this video, the last deck that I have is going to be the Sibilla deck. I don't know if it's pronounced Sibilla or Sibilla, but this is going to be the 2007 Los Scarabeo printing of the Everyday Oracle, or the Vera Sibilla Italiana. So this one has been reordered. I really like the Sibilla style cards. So that is this one. Another system to learn how to read. I would imagine it doesn't operate too far outside of like an oracle, but it is sort of set up and laid out like a Lenormand almost. But I will work with this one as I'm working through my Lenormand. There's the card backs. Those card backs are actually super cool. And that is my Vera Sibilla Everyday Oracle. And that concludes the part 6 of my deck collection series here. I do want to thank you for coming back. Thank you guys for joining me along the journey. I think next we are going to do my Native and Mesoamerican decks in what I believe is part 7 of the series. So do stick with me, come back for the next one. I appreciate you guys for coming back to this one. If you like the content, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Any ideas for the channel or any specific decks you want to see me walk through and jump them to the top of my list there, just leave that in the comments as well. Again, thank you guys for coming, and I will see you on the next one.